to bring about a greater response on the part of humanity, by which we can provide healing. Today, the dance group holds up the light. Today, the dance group gives us a beacon, a light by which we can perceive a critical time in which we're facing, AIDS and all, and the healing process thereof, under the directorship and choreography of Janice Mary Britannia. May we present to you now the Glide Dance.
I'm not dying of AIDS. I'm living with it.
We are a nation in denial about a public health crisis of epidemic proportions. We need education, more research, better funding, better care.
I feel paralyzed with terror. Had gone through so many stages of denial, anger, disbelief, self-hate. Now, as long as I have the energy, I'm going to be involved in telling my story, confronting the indifference and the negligence. I want to be a part of the healing community.
I've lost 6 friends to AIDS. These are people I really expected to grow old with. Now, every time a friend of mine calls and says he's tired, he doesn't feel well, or he can't remember something, I get so scared. I've lost too many already. We've lost too many already.
For all those living with AIDS are, let us be a bridge of compassion.
Her 2 infants died of AIDS. Joan was not a drug user, but the father of her first 2 children was. There are 50,000 women in America today who carry the AIDS virus. Many are poor. Joan was homeless a lot. She was malnourished. She weighed 42 pounds when she died. It's bad enough that she suffered from AIDS, but to struggle with poverty too.
How do I cope with my illness? I rage, I march, I get out of myself. In 1987, I marched on Washington for gay and lesbian rights. After the march, I decided to crawl in front of the White House, and I did for 4 hours. Why did I crawl? I crawled to dramatize the federal government that has crawled at a snail's pace for too many years. If they had acted quickly and taken the AIDS epidemic seriously, how many people could have been saved? So I crawled for my lover, too sick to march on Washington, and I crawled for the thousands of men, women, and children, too sick and too poor to travel anywhere, let alone Washington. And I crawled for myself, and for all those with AIDS and art who are too fearful to protest and to march. And for myself, I crawled to vent my anger, my resentment, my rage against the neglect and cruelty of the government. And I asked God to forgive them, the human beings behind the facade of government, who don't know and perhaps don't even care how many have died of AIDS and art. And I asked God to forgive me my feelings of rage.
By the time President Reagan had delivered his first speech on the AIDS epidemic, 20,849 people had died. I am so angry for those who have died from AIDS, from denial, from rejection, from bureaucratic red tape, and from government inaction. Let us be a bridge of justice.
kill myself if I ever got AIDS. I didn't want to go through the suffering. I'm a struggling, recovering alcoholic, and I've been coming to Glide and in the dance group for 8 years. I got sick last year. I lost 59 pounds. I couldn't walk. I lost my kidney function, and I had to get on dialysis. But I would not admit I had AIDS. I didn't want to be rejected from the stigma of this disease, and I was in total denial. I felt guilty that I was being punished by God and that I was a failure. I finally had to face it. I do have AIDS. I was so depressed and suicidal, I wouldn't let anyone help me. I felt sorry for myself and completely withdrew. Then one day, a stranger, a black man named Julian, came to my hospital room when I was feeling sorry for myself. And he bought me some barbecue ribs and potato salad. So we really didn't have to speak. And he told me, he said, "Look, bitch, stop feeling sorry for yourself and get up. I'm fighting for every moment of life I can get." He was much worse off than I was and has since died of AIDS. But he made me realize there's so much to live for. And this Glide family, honey, they won't let me die. They've supported me, cursed me, loved me, sung me, and danced me to life. And I'm dancing 59 pounds lighter, so for the first time, I'll be getting lifted by Tom and Larry.
The road is long, with many a winding turn that leads us to who knows where, who knows where. But I'm strong enough.
he suffered. His death shouldn't be in vain, and I love him too much not to speak out. We must, I didn't mean to get up this. We've got to stop hiding our heads in the sand about this crisis. The AIDS virus doesn't care what color you are, or how often you go to church, or whether or not you're gay. We've got to talk to each other. Stop putting each other down. Stop saying we got problems. We got to save our children.
Yes.
When she was 13 years old. She died 4 years later. I felt very sad when I heard the story about Ryan, who got AIDS after a blood transfusion. He is a hemophiliac. What is bad is that people sent him hate mail, made nasty phone calls, and even burned down his house. They won't let their kids stay in the same school as him. I guess that's what being afraid of not knowing does. It makes people mean.
It must have made Ryan feel terrible, lonely, and rejected, and for something that wasn't even his own fault.
I wish people would understand that their kids can't catch AIDS through touching.
or by shaking hands with your friends?
Learn the facts.
I'm not going, I'm gone. Up, weighing out hard. Flame with a brain with a flame. Feet with fire, desire the same. Knowledge and wisdom and understanding. Possessed by God, transferred to man in a script or book or scripture that looks like a big little fighting and fighting and looking on the song. Get along with a strong subliminal message directed all mental criminal acts of the devil. Revealed and rebel, designed to decline the mind to a lower level. Read the Holy Quran or the Bible, because it's liable to be revival. Read and see how what it'll bring and follow knowledge. Knowledge is king. Now who wants some? Come get it. A battle of the testaments and I'm with it. Heartbeats, torch, and I lit it. Set the world on fire, I did it. Now it feels good, I'm heating up. I feed on knowledge, can't eat enough. Cause knowledge is infinite, suckers they make to it. Infinite, split, and they get to it. Dance like it don't have a plan. But all look for their mind to advance. Talking of what? Chasing what? Trying to get a dollar or a nut. Evil feeds of a source of apathy. Keeping the mind and the course you have to be less than a man. More like a slave, no knowledge is nothing. Knowledge is king. My knowledge comes from a spiritual force, stronger than any earthly force. Propaganda, hyper slander. I don't believe the hype. I understand the media dictates the mind and rotates the way you think. Focus, brain. Can't maintain, ascertain, insipid and name. Crash, vain, insane, lame. Tradition, offerings, fame, position. Wanna be a star, try to be hard. Live bourgeois, don't know who you are. Lost in the sauce and praised in the dollar. Your faith, Christ called Allah. The knowledge of God, teach one thing. The dominant move. Knowledge is king.
Dear Mom and Dad, you will read this letter after I have gone. I wanted to write to tell you this and tell you how much I love and care for you. I've seen you through the past few days crying and grieving so much I thought your hearts and mine would work. I spent my last hours of the day of my physical existence wrestling with God. Then Christ came, knelt beside me, and asked me softly to take his hand. I looked into his eyes and I realized I had seen him before throughout all my life in each of you. I will look upon you when you are asleep and long to touch your faces and let you know that I am finally at peace. With your faith and your healing love, always hold up the light.
For those who have died from AIDS, from neglect, from indifference, from fear and ignorance, let us be a bridge of hope.
And always hold up the light.
Hold up the light.
Hold up the light.
Hold up the light.
Hold up the light. Hold up the light.
Hold up the light. Hold up the light.
show the spirit returning. Open up the line. Share. Let's see if we share. Let's share. Right here. Share. If we read the signs of the time, if we want to embrace the signs of the time, put my tone down just a little bit, please. Then what we must do, it seems to me, if we are to read the present and the future, we must come to see it in terms of compassion. The 1990s will be the epoch, the time, the decade for true compassion. To have true compassion is to be with the hungry, the many starving people, starving all over the world. To have true compassion is to stand with the millions who are humiliated and dehumanized. If you're going to read the signs of the times and understand the 1990s, the compassion we embrace must reach beyond our own boundary lines, beyond our own barriers, beyond our own community, beyond our own neighborhoods. The people who are oppressed, people who are still prisoners in this day and time. We must reach out to Mandela and hope for his freedom soon. To have compassion. To have compassion means that we will understand that some 270,000 people by 1991 will be afflicted with AIDS and all. To have compassion is to understand that out of those, approximately 170,000 by 1991 will be dead. To have compassion is for us to create centers of support, centers of counseling, centers of treatment, centers of healing. To have compassion, we must also have centers of bereavement. Places, I don't know of any other place better than the church. But the church ain't gonna do it, y'all. Let's be honest. Only a few. Only a few. Because I am convinced that the church is not compassionate. It is more concerned about its own preservation. I just came yesterday, flew in last night from Chicago, and preached to the church there. Millions and millions of dollars. It boasts of being the tallest church in America. And if gays came in there and said they were gays, they would put them out. They got 30 blacks, 40 Filipinos, and everybody else is white. They said they're integrated. And it is owned, the church is not owned by the Methodist Church. It is the Methodist Church ownership, but it's owned by the ex-governor and a lot of other folks whom I don't know. The church is not owned by God. It's owned by people who bought the church with their money. So therefore, it's not the church. It's a building that lets in exclusive folks. And so we come today, facing the real need for compassion. AIDS. There's a passage in the New Testament that says something about faith without works is not faith. In 1 Corinthians, there's a passage that says that you cannot have love unless it's real love. That talking about love is not real love. You see, love is compassion. And I would push my point, unconditional love. Therefore, you put no conditions on folks when it comes to AIDS. No conditions. But every time we put a condition, we are not loving. We just pretending. And so, the message that we hear today is that somebody's got to hold up the line now and tell the truth. I'm going to say that again. Somebody's got to hold up the light and tell the truth. And I hope that you, me, and all of us will hold up the light and tell the truth. So the world will know. So the world will know that we are going to press forward to the high calling. And to press forward to the high calling means that we live what we preach.